I have been running the restaurant for 3 years. The monthly rent for the premises is 3,000. I have never been late with the payments. But that day, the landlord came into the shop with an agent. Next month's rent will go up to 8,500. No agreement? You leave, I said, without hesitation, okay? They looked at each other and left quite satisfied. As soon as they left, I immediately called a moving company and moved the shop across the street that same night. There, the monthly rent is only 900. That afternoon, the owner Biao Fan came into my shop with a few people. Xiao, your business is doing quite well, huh? Hearing the voice, I raised my head. Uncle Fan, what do I owe your visit to today? He didn't answer he just walked around the shop. SEO, I have something to tell you. Tell me, sir, and it's like this. We have reevaluated the price of this premises. Mr. Fan means that from next month the rent will have to be adjusted. My heart sank. How much? Fan Biao said in a calm voice. 8,500. The air suddenly fell silent. Mr. Y, this is already a special offer. Look at the flow of people on this street. 8,500 is really not much. If you don't agree, we'll have to rent this place out to someone else. In that case, Shemi, the price will be even higher. I clenched the linen cloth in my hand, gripping it tightly. The monthly rent has gone up from 3,000 to 8,500, more than double. This little restaurant of mine. I work from morning till night. The monthly net profit is only about 10,000. This rent hike feels like I'm doing unpaid work for Fan Biao. Fan Biao looked at me without much reaction. The smile on the corner of his lips deepened a little, with a kind of satisfaction of someone who has understood everything. He thinks I can't leave this place. I'm fed up with it, so I took a deep breath. I threw the rag into the bin. Okay, Fan Biao was very happy. If you're direct. I already thought you were a smart guy. Then we'll sign the contract tomorrow. Mr. Y has vision. As expected, his business will get better and better, okay? Then I won't take up any more of your time to get rich. Work hard. I believe in you. Then they left satisfied. I stayed where I was, listening to their footsteps going downstairs and their laughter that they couldn't contain. When the sound completely disappeared, I directly took out my phone and called. Hello, Xiaogao. I'm Yi Chen. Brother Y, what's up? I wanted to ask you something. That shop across from my shop has been empty for half a year. Are you there? Yes. It's hanging there every day. The owner is almost desperate. What's up, brother? Do you have any idea? How much is the monthly rent? Before Keiyo, he was asking for 100, but now the landlord said that as long as someone wants it, he'll give it for 900. He says he's going abroad and is in a hurry to move the premises. 900. Yes, 900. And he says that as long as a new lease is signed, a long-term contract can be signed. Tell the landlord, I've rented it. 100. Sign right now. At 100 day, sign right now. Brother, aren't you going to rent that premises anymore? I'm not renting it anymore. Take the contract. Meet the landlord at the door of the premises to sign. I'll be there right away. After hanging up the phone, I immediately dialed another number. Hello, is this ZFAFA Moving Company? I need to move now. Extra payment. 13 Women Street. I might need all night to move. Money is no problem. The people across the street agree. Shortly after I hung up the phone, Agent Su and the landlord arrived at the door of the premises across the street. I went too. The landlord across the street was a man in his 50s thinking, so you want to rent? Yes, I'll rent it. Xiao Jiao helped speak from the side. Brother Liu? Wah, this is the Brother Y I told you about. He has a restaurant right across the street. Business is booming. He's absolutely reliable. Brother Liu opened the shutter of the shop. It was empty inside. It's a bit bigger than my shop. The layout is also more square, and it has water and electricity. This place has been empty for a long time. Brother Liu rubbed his hands together, a little embarrassed. Never mind. 900 a month. 100, right? Yes. If you can really pay me 15,000 a year with a deposit and 3 months in advance, that's enough. I'll pay a deposit and 12 months in advance. Liu and Xiaoju were stunned. I don't want to have to worry about paying rent every month. Did you bring the contract? Yes, no problem. As soon as you sign it, I'll transfer the money to you. Ooh, Liu excitedly took out the contract. Xiao Jiao quickly handed him a pen. I took the contract and quickly read it, line by line. They're all standard clauses. The lease term is 5 years with a fixed rent, so I didn't hesitate for a moment and put my name down in the end. Then, in front of them, I transferred the rent to Liu's account. Here's the key, boss. This place is yours now. If you have any problems with the water or electricity, call me whenever you want. I took the key. Okay, then I turned around and left. Xiao Gu caught up with me. Brother Y, what's the hurry? I'm in a hurry to move. Back across the street, a big truck was parked on the roadside. A few workers were smoking. The boss saw me and put out his cigarette. Are you Boss Y? It's me. Thanks for your hard work. It's okay. We get paid to do the job. He glanced around the shop. All the stuff is inside. I took them inside. Take everything out. Don't leave anything behind. Don't worry. With the money in hand. It's all good, brothers. Let's get to work. The workers got to work right away. One group is dismantling, one group is packing, one group is moving. My employee, Xiaolin, also came when I called him. He was surprised when he came in. Brother, what are you doing? We got kicked out. I passed him a box of spices. No, we're moving to a better place. Moving. Where? Over there. Hasn't it been empty for half a year? They say it's haunted. Don't listen to nonsense. The landlord is in a hurry to rent it out. It's cheap. Xiaolin didn't ask much. He immediately started helping me pack up. By 3 a.m., the restaurant was finally empty. I paid double. The workers left, grinning from ear to ear. By morning, the new store was already tidy. Seolin was exhausted. I told him to go back and rest first, and come back in the afternoon. At 6 a.m., in broad daylight, I lit the fire to cook rice, and prepared the first broth of the day. At 7:30 a.m., I made myself a bowl of noodles, and sat by the window to eat them slowly. From here, I could see the familiar door of the shop across the street. Its metal shutter was tightly closed, like a face of defeat. After eating the noodles, I cleaned the sign that said Family Restaurant and hung it on the facade of the new shop. Then I hand-wrote a red piece of paper and pasted it on the door. New opening. 20% off everything. Fan Biao did not appear. He looked at the closed metal shutter and was stunned. Then he looked at his watch and found that the door was unlocked. He threw it open with a bang. Then he froze completely because there was nothing inside. He ran into the shop in disbelief. He turned around and ran back out. Then he took out his cell phone as if he wanted to call me, but just then he looked up and saw me across the street. I was standing in front of the door of my new shop with a cup of hot tea in my hand, looking at him calmly. Then his gaze slowly moved to that familiar sign above my head, and then down to the eye-catching red paper. Then his expression froze. At that moment, my first customer arrived. It was Aunt Lee, who lived in the nearby neighborhood. She came to my shop every morning to eat a bowl of bonton. Aunt Lai was surprised by my new shop. Hey, did you move? Yes, Aunt El. The new place is a little more spacious. There's a 20% discount today. Same as always. Yeah, why not? I'll follow you wherever you move to. That must be your black-hearted landlord. What's going on? Maybe he's reflecting on life. Fan Tebiao clearly heard what we said. He suddenly turned his head and glared at me with a murderous look. I ignored her and went into the shop. Aunt Lei, your bonton will be ready soon. Later, Fan Tebiao stood across the street for a full half hour, and she had already waited on 3 tables of customers in my shop. Hey, well done. This new shop is much brighter than the old one. I wondered why they hadn't opened across the street. You gave me a scare. I thought you had run away. Where are you running to? The skill said, hey, it can shine anywhere. Old customers? You say one thing, I say another. They were chatting animatedly. They were all neighbors in the neighborhood. They had been eating my food for 3 years. They trusted my skill and character, so their gazes towards Fan De Biao, in Biao's eyes, carried a hint of contempt and a desire to watch the show. Finally, Fan De Biao made a move with a gloomy face. He crossed the street and walked towards my new shop. Several diners saw this. They all put down their chopsticks. The atmosphere in the shop suddenly became tense. Xiao Zhou was a little scared. I told him not to worry. And then I got in Biao Fan's way, TF. What's wrong with you? His face was as red as a pig's liver. What do you mean? You dare to deceive me? I didn't deceive you. You were the one who said, if you don't agree, move out. I've moved out now. Do you have any objections? This is unethical. We had already reached a verbal agreement. This is cheating people. First, we haven't signed any new contracts. Second, you were the one who pressured me with the agent at the door, taking things to the extreme. Now you're talking to me about ethics. Don't you think it's ridiculous? The customers also joined in the chorus. Exactly, old fan. You haven't acted uprightly. The young man was giving you $3,500 a month, and suddenly you raised it to $8,500. Why don't you go steal it? That's right. What a disgusting way to eat. It's nothing more than envy because the young man has a good business. They're jealous. Good thing, Xiao is skilled. He just changed places. Otherwise, you would let people like you squeeze him dry. Fan Biao's face turned red and then green. Just as he was about to explode, he realized, who had become the target of everyone, so he threatened me viciously. Ye Chen, wait for me. Do you think it's going to stay like this? I assure you that you won't be able to continue on this street. Go ahead, I'll wait for you. But I have to tell you something, Uncle Fan. We live in a state of law now. If you dare to do anything out of the ordinary, I can call the police at any time. I'm so sorry to everyone for interrupting your meal. Today's meal is on me. It's my treat. The restaurant erupted in cheers. The applause never stopped. Biao Fan stood there at the door. He stared at me intently for several seconds. Finally, under a look of general contempt, he embarrassedly got into his car and sped away. I saw his car disappear around the corner of the street, and the smile on my face slowly faded. I know Biao Fan won't leave it like this. He can't do it openly, so he'll definitely use dirty tricks. I went back to the kitchen. I looked at the boiling broth in the pot, and my gaze gradually grew cold. Whatever comes, I will stop. Whatever comes, I will accept. Do you want to play? Then I will play with you until the end. The business at the new store is a resounding success because of this business of mine. Without intending it, my little restaurant has now become a real hotspot on the internet. So for several days in a row, the restaurant has been completely full. Without stopping for a second, I had to temporarily hire a lady to serve the dishes. Only then can I barely manage. And Biao Fan hasn't shown up here since I ran away that day. I heard that he put the store back up with the agency asking for $10,000. The agent advised him to be realistic, but he still thinks that my business is so good that proves that this location is worth the price. He is convinced that there will be another one like me, eagerly waiting to take over. But several days have passed, and in front of the door of the store, there is not even a tenant, not even the shadow of someone looking at the local. But just when I thought I would continue being this foolish, trouble struck. The first one to realize something was wrong was Xiao Gyo. Bro, did you hear? People are saying outside that the food in our store isn't clean. Who said that? Several old customers have already come to ask me. It's Aunt Sue who runs the grocery store nearby. She's telling everyone today that we use the cheapest frozen meat, that even the oil is recycled from the sewage. Aunt S, I remember now. She has a very good relationship with Fan Biao's wife. They're Mayong's colleagues, and there are also people saying that you didn't leave of your own free will, that Fan Biao kicked you out because you owed several months' rent, that you don't have a good reputation. This is obviously nonsense. I see it all very clearly. It's just that Fan Biao doesn't dare to show his face and pushed his wife away. Those kinds of dirty and low tactics. Only people like them would think of them. That afternoon, Fan Biao's wife Tebiao Si Yufen, with a head full of cheap curls, personally took action. He stood in front of several small shops on the street, and, in a haze, spraying saliva everywhere, made up rumors. Oh, I tell you, under no circumstances should you go to the small restaurant of the Y family. Their ingredients are rotten vegetable leaves picked from the market. Their landlord is a relative of mine, who kindly rented the premises to him, but look what he did. He left everything dirty and messy, and he also owes rent. In the end, he secretly ran away. Who would dare eat in a place that opens someone like that? Who would dare eat there? His voice was high-pitched and loud, and in the middle of the street, some passers-by who did not know what was happening could be heard. They stopped and looked curiously at my shop. At that moment, there were several tables of customers eating in my shop. When they heard this, their faces changed slightly. Xiao Jiu turned white with anger and grabbed a broom and was about to leave. Running. Bro, I'm going to fight him. I grabbed him right away. Go back. But, bro, if you argue with him, you'll be falling right into his trap. All he wants is for us to insult each other on the street, make a scene, and ruin our reputation. So what do? Let him talk. The louder he talks now, the harder he'll fall later. I took out my phone and pressed the video recording button towards Sufin. I recorded for a full 5 minutes. In the video, Sufin was vividly describing my alleged crimes. Some nearby shop owners who were friends of his were even adding fuel to the fire. I put my phone away and told the customers, everyone who's been rumored, the regulars already know. To thank them for their support and to reassure the new friends. Tomorrow we're going to hold an event at the store. Tomorrow at 12 noon, our kitchen will be open to the public for half an hour. I invite you to come in and see what kind of rice and flour we use. What the oil and meat look like, and vegetables. I, Ye Chen, do business with a clear conscience. If you hear, we believe you. I'll definitely come back tomorrow. That's what I mean. Tomorrow I'll bring my neighbor to see, so those gossips can see what cleanliness is. The atmosphere in the store brightened up again, thanks to me. In the meantime, Sifin across the street slowly walked away. I watched her walk away. A cold smile appeared on my lips. Si Yufen, Biao's fan, do you think this is it? The best is yet to come. The next day, my open kitchen event became the big news on the street. I printed several dozen flyers in advance. It didn't say anything else except who's clean ha kola, who's shady. Yi invited him to see the kitchen with his own eyes. Yes, witness to the quality of our conscience, I asked OGU and several enthusiastic regular customers to distribute the flyers to nearby neighborhoods and offices in the neighborhood WeChat groups. I personally posted an announcement for the event. The attached image was a screenshot from the video I recorded yesterday. Si Yufin's distorted face was greatly enlarged, but I covered her eyes with a mosaic. I only added a line of text. Rumors cease when people are smart, and even more so when it comes to real things. This completely aroused everyone's curiosity. The next day, at 11:30 in the morning, people were crowding at the entrance of my store. Everyone was whispering, wanting to see how I would prove myself. Biaofan and Suen also came. The two of them stood outside the crowd with lustful faces. He killed the store manager. I allowed them to open the kitchen door. Everyone, welcome to visit my kitchen. We cleaned it thoroughly last night. It's so shiny that it can be used as a mirror. The floor is dry and clean. The stainless steel stove and countertop are clean, without a speck of dust. You can see our employees' health certificates hung neatly on the wall. In the corner, there are sorted trash cans arranged neatly. I introduced them to everyone, one by one. This is the rice we use at home. Northeastern Bushante rice. This is the oil we use at home. Ross, a well-known brand, non-GMO. The receipt is stuck on the wall. Take a look for yourselves. Seriously, the receipt is dated yesterday. This is the pork that arrived this morning. Look at the color and elasticity. All the vegetables I use are washed under running water at least 3 times. This kitchen is cleaner than my house. CA is a very picky person. I am at peace now. I will come over for dinner every day from now on. It's easy to say, but who knows if you made it today on purpose to put on a show. Aunt sang, what you said is not right. I have been eating at home for 3 years. She said, hey, I've never had a stomachache. What's the person like? You can't fake it. You may wonder why I'm doing this activity. Because yesterday, a very kind lady on the street criticized me in this way. The video starts playing. Si Yufin's high-pitched and unpleasant voice was clearly transmitted. They have rotten coconuts cut into the market. They owe the rent. All paid. The scene fell silent. Suddenly, it fell. Everyone's gazes flocked to the television on the periphery of the crowd. A high price combined with the face. Don't look at the future consequences. Look, everyone. This is the source of the rumor. I turned off the video. My gaze leisurely swept over each person. Finally, it landed on Biao Bis Yufin's fan. I have done business here for 3 years. I think I have been fair, my landlord. because I did not accept his invitation to raise the price excessively. He let his wife discredit me like this. Do you think this is fair? The crowd immediately began to discuss. It is too immoral. It is complete nonsense. They are mean, and on top of that, lies, they blame others. What kind of person? It turns out it's because he couldn't get a long-term lease. He's getting revenge on the young man. How shameless. The insults flooded towards Fan Biao and his wife like a flood. Fan Biao grabbed his wife and ran away in shame. My little restaurant, after all this fuss, became famous. It became synonymous with cleanliness and trust. That same afternoon, a young man who had originally intended to rent Fan Biao's premises to set up a bubble tea shop. After hearing the whole story, he left shaking his head. It's too scary to deal with a landlord like that. And as I looked at the premises across the street with the metal shutters still tightly closed, I felt a great sense of peace in my heart. Fan Biao, your losses are only just beginning. On the second day of the kitchen opening, I already had a long line in front of my shop. Xiao was maintaining order at the entrance. He was hoarse from shouting so much. Noon. A middle-aged man pushed through the crowd. It's Master Ma, who owns a barber shop. In the space beside my old shop, Fan Biao also has a tenant. Boss, why? Master Ma, what brings you here? I came to thank you. Thank me for what? Thank you for getting us revenge. That Fan Biao is a bad person. He also wanted to raise my rent from 2,000 to 4,500. My little barbershop doesn't make that much money. I argued with him for a long time. He finally agreed to give me 3 more months. I haven't been able to sleep for days because of my worries. 3 months? I suddenly understood everything. Fan Biao wanted to use me as an example to scare the others. If I gave up, the other tenants would have no choice but to let themselves be exploited. Yes. Not just me, but also La Oli, who owns a hardware store, and Brother Sao, who owns a small supermarket. I had warned them all. We all have small businesses. With what you're doing, we can barely survive. Now it's okay with what you did. You become an outcast. These days, he doesn't even dare to mention the rent increase. If he makes unreasonable demands again, don't be afraid. Come together and go to the community or district office together to mediate. What he fears most is that it will be made public. Do you understand, boss? And you are our pillar. Then the rules of etiquette. I will give you a 50% discount. I fired Master Ma. I felt something different in my heart. My initial counterattack was just to protect myself. But now this matter seems to have a deeper meaning. I am no longer alone in this. In the afternoon, I took time to go to the old shop across the street. The roller shutter door was tightly closed. Someone had sprayed 3 characters in red paint on the door: black-hearted person, crooked and irregular. But you could tell that the person who wrote it was very angry. A turtle was also drawn next to it. I don't know how wonderful the expression on Biao's face must have been when he saw this scene. His expression must have been very interesting. Over the following few days, Fanta Biao's store was utterly transformed into a complete farce. It is said that he lowered the rent back to 3,500. But still no one came to ask. A relocated resident who lives off collecting rent when his house is unrentable and his reputation is completely ruined. He no longer has a way to rely on to move forward. I thought he would calm down like this, but I still underestimated how low a person's bottom line can get. This late night, just when I was about to close the shop. Bro, bad news. I went to take out the trash just now. I saw Fan Teviao talking on the phone at the entrance of the alley. I heard him say that he was going to report us. Report us for what? That we do not meet fire safety requirements. That we have hygiene problems. He also said that he has acquaintances upstairs. That he is going to force us to close. I walked towards the door. Sure enough, I saw Fan Teviao at a corner not far away, cursing and grumbling with a fierce expression. The next morning, trouble came knocking. The first wave of people to arrive was from the health department. 3 uniformed employees. We are from the State Administration for Market Regulation. We received a complaint from the public that there are serious food safety risks here. We need to do a surprise inspection. The restaurant customers stopped eating and looked at them curiously. Welcome to inspect. How can we cooperate? Bring all the employees' health certificates. The kitchen, the warehouse. We have to check everything. Chow Jiu took out our health certificates and handed them over. In the meantime, I took them to the kitchen. They inspected very carefully, almost looking for 3 feet on a cat. I saw a person with a flashlight inspecting the stove and the cracks in the corners of the walls. A person opened the refrigerator using a thermometer to measure the refrigeration and freezing temperatures, and another person carefully checked my purchase receipts and the expiration dates of various ingredients and my cooking. Due to the extensive cleaning after the open house, in addition to always keeping it very clean, so clean that they couldn't find any defects. According to the inspection, WAS, their hygiene status basically complies with the standards. We will issue an inspection report. We hope they keep it up. Thank you. We will be careful. Shortly after they left, a few more people entered through the restaurant door. This time, it was the fire department. Who is responsible? We received a report that their firefighting facilities are incomplete and that there is a blockage in the emergency exit. The restaurant customers understood everything immediately. Isn't it obvious that someone is deliberately looking for trouble? Of course it is. One wave has just left, and another is coming. It was definitely the heartless landlord. I rushed over. I am the owner. Tell me you want to check. The firefighters got to work without the slightest hesitation. They checked the production date and pressure gauge of the fire extinguishers. They checked the escape route to see if it was blocked by anything. They even checked the smoke detector. I tested whether it leaked or not. The result was exactly the same as last time with the health inspection. Fire safety is no game. They did very well. They deserve to be commended. I didn't have time to say thank you. Another commotion came from the door. Excuse me, is this Yegia restaurant? This time the ones who arrived were from the Bureau of Industry and Commerce. I took a deep breath. Hello, it's me. What's the matter now? The people from the Bureau of Industry and Commerce checked my business license and also checked whether I was doing false advertising or not. I handed them the new license. The legal representative written on top was my own name. Then they pointed to the red paper I had stuck on my door that said new store opened and asked if I had applied. I told them that this is just a short-term promotion. Within the scope allowed by law, they went around my store. In the end, they could only be disappointed and got nothing. They left. Before leaving, the team leader looked at me meaningfully. Dude, it's not easy to do business, but as long as you handle all the procedures legally, no one can touch you. Don't lower yourself to their level. They're wasting public resources for nothing. We'll take care of it. Thank you very much. After the third wave of people left my small shop, Xiaozhou from Baojia. Let's see what tricks that bastard has now. If you're fair, don't be afraid of the shadow. We're all supporting you. I felt a knot in my throat and was very close to crying. I quickly bowed to everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. After this storm passed, my business not only did not decline, but became even more prosperous. I received 3 waves of inspections from law enforcement departments in a row in one morning, and each time I passed the test with flying colors. This matter became explosive news. My small restaurant is now not only a conscientious restaurant, but has also become a model merchant. My patrons joke about how my restaurant has 3 more layers of safety than dining at their own residences. So that same afternoon, I took out the money and hired someone to make an embroidered banner and also printed some posters. On the posters, I wrote in the largest font a warm welcome to the Administration of Market Supervision and Fire Brigade, and to the leaders of the Administration for Industry and Commerce to come to our store for inspection and guidance. After strict review by the competent authorities, our store fully complies with the standards in terms of food safety, fire safety, legal operation, etc. I added a small line of text below. Government certified trustworthy restaurant. Welcome everyone to try. I pasted this poster in the most conspicuous position at the store door. Then I took that banner that said fair enforcement of the law, serving the people wholeheartedly, and carried it out into the street with great fanfare to the office in front of everyone to thank them for their concern and care for small merchants like me. The faces of the street office leaders turned red, and then they turned white. Of course, they knew the trick behind this, but in front of so many neighbors, they could only accept the embroidered banner and had to put on a smile to praise me for my high conscience for being an outstanding representative of the merchants. So this reverse operation of mine completely blew up the entire street. Everyone was stunned by my act and then laughed out loud. This is simply Fandabu's face. Rubbing it on the ground over and over again, spending money to get out of the relationship, looking for people to find my faults. But instead he gave me a free authorized certification. It became a fire for my own promotion, and soon after I heard that the market management gave Fandabiao a strong warning, telling him that if he dared to abuse the right to report and maliciously harass and waste public resources, they would severely punish him. According to the law, Fandabiao completely became the laughingstock of this street. His name became closely associated with greed, lack of morals, and reaping what one sows. Sufin was the first one who couldn't stand it anymore, so she took out all her fury on Fanbiao. Several times as she passed by the building where they lived, she could hear loud, noisy fighting and the sound of things breaking from above. Fanbiao, you're useless. Now, when I go out, I can't even lift my head. You've made me lose all my face. Weren't you the one who had that stupid idea? Talking nonsense like a gossiping old woman. Now look, you're being recorded, you idiot. Idiot. If you weren't so greedy and hadn't raised the rent by a penny, we would be in this situation today. Fanbiao lost his face on the street and couldn't lift his head at home either, so he started drinking uncontrollably. He drank until he was in a daze every day, and his gaze became more gloomy and terrifying with each passing day. In the meantime, Master Ma and the others, encouraged by me, came together as one force. They gathered 5 shopkeepers and went to look for Fandabiao. Of course, Fandabiao refused, shouting that he would throw them all out. Master Ma, as his representative, calmly took out a tape recorder. Fandabiao was completely stunned. In the end, he could only grit his back teeth and sign those documents that made him feel ashamed to the core. From that day on, Fandabiao drank even more. He would get drunk at night and stand in front of my restaurant, staring at me, his eyes full of hatred and resentment. So that same day, I installed 4 high-definition night surveillance cameras in the store and at the entrance. A few nights later, Fandabiao showed up. He was seen wearing a black down jacket, carrying a bucket of red paint. He went straight to the entrance of my store and without hesitation threw the red paint on my glass door and the signs. Then, as if he felt it wasn't enough, he picked up the empty bucket and hit the glass door hard twice. After doing all this, he threw the empty bucket away breathlessly and staggered away into the darkness. The next morning, Xiaozhou arrived at the store first, then shouted at me, "Brother, come quickly, something serious has happened." I rushed over and saw Wu shaking with rage. It must have been that bastard Biaofan. He's too abusive. We should call the police. Don't be so hasty. Get some cleaners to clean this up. It doesn't matter if you spend more money. Make sure everything is back to normal before we open. Brother, are we just gonna leave it like this? No way. Go get the cleaners first. I'll take care of the rest. After saying this, I turned around and went back to the store. I pulled out the surveillance footage from last night and saw the scene of him throwing paint and running away with a sour face. The whole process was clearly recorded by the high-definition camera, especially after he sprayed the paint. There was a movement of raising his face. Biao-fan, I've waited for this opportunity for too long. I won't give you any chance this time. To recover, this fight must come to an end. I cut out the most critical segment from the surveillance video and also captured the moment when he was recorded from the front. I finally drove to the town's photo studio. Boss, help me print this image onto a 24-inch photo. After briefly examining the screenshot, the boss was left completely speechless. It's not this Fan Biao from Wyming Road. It's not this Fan Biao from Wyming Road. Yes, it's him. Come back in half an hour. After half an hour, I returned to my small restaurant with the photo. At this time, the cleaning ladies had basically already cleaned the paint at the entrance. They were doing the finishing touches. I didn't pay any attention to them. I crossed the road directly. I walked to the front of Fan Biao's empty storefront. Then I took out strong glue and pasted this huge photo neatly in the center of the roller shutter. I also wrote a large line of text below the photo. This person is wanted full-time. This person caused damage. Malicious damage to Fujiar restaurant at 2 a.m. last night. This person caused malicious damage to Fujiar restaurant at 2 a.m. last night. If anyone can provide his motive for the crime and follow-up plans. Cash reward of 5,000 yuan. Some neighbors who happened to be passing by cried out in surprise after seeing him. Oh my god, isn't this Biao-fan? Isn't this a crime? I've never seen anything like this in my life. His own crime photo pasted in front of his own door. He has no shame anymore. This news spread like wildfire. In less than half an hour, a large dark crowd gathered in front of Biao-fan's shop. The taunts were louder than the scolding that kept coming. Banteviao's reputation was completely shattered at that moment. That's when I calmly took out my phone and dialed 110. Hello, it's the police officers. I want to report a crime. Someone came last night. He vandalized my store with malicious intent. I have complete surveillance footage. I have also identified the suspect. Okay, I'm waiting. 10 minutes later, 2 officers arrived. I handed the USB stick with the complete video to one of the officers. Officer, this is the evidence. The suspect is in the building across the street. Are you sure he's upstairs? Sure. 3rd floor. Under the gaze of hundreds of neighbors, the 2 officers entered the apartment building where Fan Tebiao lived. Not long after, they carried out Fan Tebiao covered in dust and with a haggard face. When Fan Tebiao saw his own ugly face, magnified countless times, pasted on the door of his store, being ridiculed by countless people, his last line of psychological defense completely collapsed. Then his legs went weak and he collapsed to the ground. I stood at the door of my store, coldly watching this scene. This dispute that had lasted for almost a month finally came to an end. After Fan Tebiao was taken away, the entire heaven and earth became quiet. The flashing lights of the police car disappeared at the corner of the street. The crowd watching also gradually dispersed, but the air was still filled with that malicious joy and whispers. Biao-fan became their topic of conversation for many days. In the meantime, I quietly congratulated Xiao Jiao. The customers are about to arrive. Let's get ready to open. Brother, are we opening today? Yes, why not? Even if the sky falls, we have to eat. Our job is to make sure everyone eats well. Go on. Xiaolin nodded vigorously and immediately sprang into action. Half an hour later, Fujia restaurant opened its doors on time for business, as if this farce had never happened. But everyone understood that some things had completely changed. That noon, I received a call from the police station asking me to come and give a statement. So I left the shop in Xiaolin's charge and went alone. Then I told everything from the long-term rental to the serious defamation, including the allegations, malicious, and finally, I recounted the whole thing about the painting last night in detail. Fan Biao intentionally damaged your private property. The total value exceeds 5,000 yuan. It has already reached the standard for a criminal investigation. Fan Biao himself also confessed to the criminal acts. We will criminally detain him in accordance with the law and then hand him over to the procuratorate to press charges. You could also be required to appear in court as a victim in this case. I understand. I will cooperate. After leaving the police station, I took a deep breath of fresh air. I felt that the dark cloud that had been weighing on my chest these days had finally completely dissipated. Half an hour later, just as I reached the door of the store, a group of people who had been waiting there immediately pounced on me. Teacher Ma, visibly moved, almost grabbed my hand. Boss, why? We all heard it. Well done. You are representing all of us and eliminating a great plague from the entire street. Yes, Sia. If you need anything in the future, as long as you open your mouth, we will never be vague about it. Everyone takes it too seriously. I just did what I had to do. Let everyone do business safely in the future. It's better than anything else. Come in quickly. Today's on me. I led them into the shop. The restaurant was instantly filled with laughter. On the 3rd day of Fan Biao's criminal detention, Si Yufan came to see me. He first called out to me with a haggard expression. Boss, why? And then he suddenly knelt down directly in front of me. Boss, why? I beg you to be lenient. Forgive my old fan. He's not human. He's an idiot. He did something wrong. I apologize on his behalf. I prostrate myself before you. Suen. Stand up. If you do this in my shop, it will affect my business. Boss, why? He just got confused for a moment. He drank too much alcohol. No, that's why he did that kind of foolish thing. Now he regrets it so much in there. As long as you go tell the guy that you are willing to forgive him, sign a letter of understanding. He will be able to leave. We will pay compensation. We will compensate you for all your losses. Double, no. Triple. I let out a soft laugh. Money. Siu Fen, do you think I do all this for money? She was stuck by my question, her mouth hanging open, unable to speak, when she came with the Terminator to pressure me and raise the rent from 3,500 to 8,500. All you were thinking about was money when you were out there slandering me? Saying that I use sewage oil and rotten vegetable leaves, all you wanted to do was ruin my reputation. When he maliciously reported and wanted me to close down and go bankrupt, he didn't think about leaving me a way out. Now that he's destroyed my shop and broken down my door, you're telling me it was a momentary outburst. Sifan's face was getting paler and paler. This isn't about forgiving him or not. He has broken the law. He should receive the judgment and education of the law. No, my forgiveness is worthless. And it can't save him either. Si Yufan's gaze changed greatly. I mustn't be unforgiving. Ye Chen, you're so evil. You'll get what you deserve. I don't know if I'll get what's coming to me, but I know his retribution has already arrived. Now, please get out of my shop or I'll call the police. Si Yufan got up from the ground and left desolately. A few days later, a manager from a real estate company who used to eat at my restaurant contacted me on his own initiative. Boss, and I would be interested in bringing your small restaurant to our new building complex. We've developed a new shopping plaza in the east of the city that opens tomorrow. We trust your ability and character to the point that you'll accept the best location. The most favorable rent is reserved for you. Open a branch and turn the Y Family restaurant into a brand. A new and broader horizon. He's calling me. 1 month later, Biao Fan was sentenced to 8 months in prison for the crime of intentional damage to property. Sentenced to 8 months in prison. Fan Biao's shop and house, shortly after his criminal arrest, were bought outright by a foreign investor. The price was almost 30% lower than the market price. Scaffolding is currently being erected in front of the old restaurant. Workers are working noisily inside. That roller shutter door that had previously been spray painted and covered in posters has now been dismantled. It has been replaced by a new wooden and glass wall. The era of Fonteviao is over, and my gaze is drawn to a place further away. The Chengtonin shopping mall proposal is tucked away in my drawer. These days, I've started organizing the recipes for my signature dishes, trying to standardize the cooking process. I've also signed up for an online business management course. Siu sees me busy every day and asks me curiously, now that things are going so well, what are you working on now? Siu, this store is just our starting point. In the future, we'll open the second and third ones, and Xiaowan in this city. Xiaojiao's eyes lit up with curiosity. Suddenly, they were filled with yearning for the future, and Chengdan Mall represents the direction of the future development of this city. It is a new emerging commercial zone supported by the government. According to the plan, the place will integrate shopping, dining, entertainment, and office space. The aim is to attract the younger and more spendthrift-oriented audience in the entire city. The colored effect proposal indicates with an icon the location they have reserved for me on the ground floor next to the street, opposite the fountain in the square. It is the golden area with the highest footfall in the entire commercial zone. Below it is also a small line indicating the rental plan, the first 2 years rent-free, and after the third year, a 50% discount. Manager Chen said that they are not only interested in my ability, but also in my reputation and the tenacity and intelligence I demonstrated in that storm. They need a model merchant like me, with a story and a topic of conversation to help attract people. In a certain way, my small restaurant had already become a recognizable brand. I have everything clear in my mind. This is both an opportunity and an obstacle. On Women's Street, I rely on word of mouth from my neighbors. I rely on that camaraderie built up over 3 years. But when I arrive in a completely new business environment, I face more demanding customers and even fiercer competition. Everything has to start from scratch. The biggest challenge is how to replicate a small restaurant like the Y Family's. My main competitive advantage is myself. The cooking point of each dish, the proportion of each condiment, are all in my head, in my hands. But if I want to open a branch, I have to turn these hands of mine into a standardized process that can be learned, that can be replicated, that can be strictly executed. So I took each dish from the amount of ingredients, the size of the cut and preparation, to the order in which they are put in the pot, the cooking time, even how many spoonfuls of sauce are added at the end. I quantified it all, wrote it all down in detail. Some are weighed in grams, others are stewed for the time it takes 2 cups to consume. You have to use a stopwatch. Xiao Jiao stared at the notebook. Bro, are you doing a chemical experiment? A chemical experiment. Starting today, you are my first student. This old restaurant, I will gradually hand it over to you to manage. You must learn to use this standard to make it taste exactly like mine. Xiao Jiao's eyes lit up instantly. He took those sheets of paper, nodded vigorously. In addition to standardization, talent is also needed. I need a new head chef who can control the place. Processes alone are not enough. It is not enough. The talent and intuition of the chef are equally important. I started paying attention to job advertisements in the sector. I also asked some ingredient suppliers to let me know if they knew anyone suitable. I went to Chengdan by bus over the weekend. The new shopping mall was still under construction. There were cranes, towers, and scaffolding everywhere. The air was filled with cement and the smell of earth, but I was standing in front of that construction site, looking at that building that already had some shape, and my heart felt burning. Fan Biao wanted to corner me, but accidentally opened a door to a vaster world for me. My life reached a height I had never imagined. 15 days later, I formally signed a letter of intent to lease with the developer of the Chang'an new shopping plaza. On the day of the signing, Manager Chen attended in person and also invited several local media outlets. Boss Wai-hee, the village food god, is a product of our beloved Women Street. His story represents our era, the fighting spirit of the common people. After the news was broadcast, I once again became the focus of the neighbors' quote, attention, branch, store. Official signing. We'll open a branch in Chang'an. Xiaoi is really promising. He is about to open a branch in Chang'an. Of course. Gold shines wherever it is. If we want to eat the food you make in the future, we will have to go far. That's right. In response to regular clients' complaints, I explained things one by one with a smile. Uncles and aunts, don't worry, this old shop will not close. It will always be our base on Win Street. I will train Xiaolin to make sure the taste is exactly the same as before. Speaking of Xiaolin, he has progressed rapidly during this time. He devoted almost all his free time to a simple dish of scrambled eggs with tomato. He could cook it dozens of times, strictly following the process, until the color, sweet, and sour taste were identical to mine. Looking at his focused profile face, it was like seeing myself. When I opened the restaurant a few years ago, I decided that when the new place opened and was doing well, I would give him 30% of the shares of this old restaurant. The choice of chef was also decided at that time. An ingredient supplier recommended a young man named Swang to me. He was 26 years old. He was a sous chef at a 5-star hotel in the city. He had a solid foundation, but because he was too direct, he was not good at handling interpersonal relationships. He was always suppressed in the hotel and did not. He had the opportunity to move up. I called him to meet, took him straight to the kitchen. I made a dish for him to try, and then gave him the spoon to make the same. He watched me make one of my signature dishes once, and understood 70 to 80% of it just by watching it once. The second time he made it, the taste was almost the same as mine. The third time, he even made a little optimization to the presentation, making the dish look more refined and more appetizing. Start working next month. The base salary is 20% higher than what you have now. After the new location opens, you will also get a 5% share of the technical shares. Just one condition. Do it strictly to my standards. Swang listened and bowed deeply to me, saying excitedly, "Thank you, Brother Y. I definitely won't let you down." Everything was going in the right direction. The core team members were all in place. Standardized processes had also been defined. The design plans for the new location were also drawn up by professional designers hired by the developer. Real estate. Everything is done and delivered just when I'm busy fighting for the future, when I'm so busy that I don't touch the ground. The past on Wemming Street is also changing completely and decisively. The new boss across the street has converted several Fantabiao premises into a budget hotel. The construction progress is particularly fast. There are fewer scaffoldings every day. The new gray walls and huge windows are slowly revealed. It looks quite impressive. From time to time, I see Master Mei and some of them who were like me before, tenants who rented premises from Fan Biao standing on the street. They pointed at the new hotel that was about to be completed and discussed something with complex expressions. I know they lament that everything is impermanent. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, 8 months have passed. The budget hotel across the street has also been open for 2 months. The hotel's business is unusually prosperous. Its appearance has not only improved the business level of the entire street, but has also brought my small shop more customers from all over the country. The old man Can, the new chef at my store, has fully integrated into our team. Not only is he unwilling to implement the standard procedures I set, but he also optimized our back kitchen management process based on his previous experience in 5-star hotels. The efficiency has suddenly improved a lot. Seolin is no longer the girl she used to be, who would follow me around and shyly call me brother. There is a bit more of the composure and confidence of a manager between her eyebrows. At this time, the construction of the Chengden new shopping plaza has also entered the final stage. My new store has also started to renovate in full swing. I also registered the Yegia Xiao Onion brand and specially set up a catering company with the intention of growing the business. There were not many customers in the restaurant that afternoon. I was discussing new dishes for the next quarter with Swan Kang. Out of the corner of my eye, I suddenly saw a familiar yet strange figure. He was a fan of Biao. He had just been released from prison. At that moment, Swang followed my gaze and asked, "Brother Y, who is that? A person?" "An old neighbor, I guess." "Let's continue. I'm gonna try something about this crispy tofu. I think the sweetness of the sauce could be reduced by 2 more points." The opening day of the new store coincided with the first day of the trial opening of Chendon Commercial Plaza. The entire plaza was adorned with colorful flags. There was a huge crowd. It was particularly lively. My restaurant Yegia occupied the most central location in the plaza. The entrance was filled with congratulatory flower baskets. A red carpet stretched from the store door to the center of the plaza. It was particularly impressive. I dressed formally, dolled up from head to toe, stood at the ribbon-cutting ceremony. When it was my turn to speak, I took a deep breath and began to speak. "Hello everyone, I'm Yech Chen. Many people know me, perhaps not because of my food, but because of other things." The audience broke into friendly laughter, but standing here today, I hope everyone can get to know me and my store again. Yegia restaurant has no secrets, only two things, conscience and taste. From that small shop on Wim Street with only 7 tables. Starting today, this Chengdon, the new 300 square meter store. These two things will never change. Thank you all. 10:18 in the morning, the opening ceremony ends. The doors of the new store officially open. Customers enter in order. Swang, dressed in a Snow White chef's uniform, stands in the center of the open kitchen. Behind him are 8 chefs in the same uniform. Each has its own function. Cutting and preparing. Great combination. Serving dishes quickly. Everything is like a precise machine. It still works in an orderly manner. The standard procedures I laid out earlier are now the most precise weapon in their hands. No sloppiness. Table A3. Signature braised pork. Yusiang eggplant in a pot. Table B5. Crispy tofu, hand-shredded cabbage. Pay attention to the presentation when serving. Swan Kyung's voice is calm and powerful. A pink, fragrant, and delicious dish. It is quickly taken to the delivery area and then delivered by waiters in uniforms. I walk around the lobby to each customer's table, carefully observing the customers' reactions and listening to their comments. The atmosphere is too good, and seeing the kitchen so clean, it gives me confidence to eat. Everyone's compliments come one after another. On the first day of the opening, the table turnover rate of the new store was astonishingly high. After sending away the last table of customers, all the employees collapsed into their chairs, baby, but excitement and pride radiated from each one's face. The finance department informed me about the first day's turnover. That figure was almost the monthly income of the old Women Road store. I also felt particularly relieved. After finishing the crucial first week of the opening, I completely delegated the daily operation of the Chengdon store to Swam Kang. I returned to the old Women Road store myself. Boss, he returned when there were no strangers. He kept calling me brother. Xiaolin replied in a clear voice. Brother. Her face lit up with a smile. I have sorted out this month's accounts. Take a look at them. Good job. This month's turnover has increased again compared to last month. Of course, my brother teaches well, right? In the afternoon, after the customers left, I called Xiaolin to the back kitchen and handed her a document. Take a look at this. Xiaolin took the document and asked doubtfully, Brother, what is this? From today onwards, I own 70% of this old shop and you own 30%. You are no longer just the manager of this shop, but also one of the owners of this shop. Come year end, your share dictates the dividend I'll give you. Brother, this is too valuable. I can't. You deserve it. This shop is our roots. You helped me protect it. We wouldn't have the Yuzhou of today or tomorrow without you. This 30% share is what you deserve. Xiaolin's tears finally fell. She didn't refuse anymore. She just nodded her head heavily and hugged the document tightly. After returning to the new Chengdon store, I found that Master Mei and the old neighbors like Lao Lei, sitting in the store waiting for me, had also brought a huge plaque. On the plaque were written 4 big characters of Jisuang Xin. I looked at the plaque of the new store. I looked at these simple and kind neighbors. An indescribable feeling of excitement welled up in my heart. All the hard work had paid off with the success 2 years later. As usual, Yugias takes 7 days of vacation starting from the day of its opening. The new Chengdon store was already closed, but the old store on Women Road was unusually lively tonight. It gathered all the key employees. In this place where our dreams began, we had dinner and celebrated the new year together. Abundant dishes were displayed on the long table. Xiaolin has completely transformed into a smart and capable business boss, but at this moment she is like a little girl, excitedly distributing the red envelopes I packed. OGU also relaxed for once and joked and drank with everyone. He drank until his face was red, especially pleased. Everyone sat together, talking about last year's harvests and also enjoying the expectations for the new year. The atmosphere was particularly lively. In these 2 years, Yogan has grown from a small brand to a small food and beverage empire, in addition to the main store in Wimenad and the flagship store in Chengdon. Our 3rd and 4th branches in the south and west of the city have also entered the right track. Business is very good. My catering management company has also moved to a spacious and bright office, whether with a professional finance, Hasru, human resources, and marketing team. I no longer fight alone, as I did before. I went from being an individual burdened with rent, to having a net worth of millions, and being a new and energetic entrepreneur in the catering industry, widely reported by local media. Brother Y, what new plans do you have for next year? We should consider entering the market outside the province. Catering is like boiling a good soup. The most important thing to avoid is impatience. The main focus of our efforts next year will be the construction of a central kitchen, designed to enhance our quality control procedures. The stronger the foundation the higher we can build the building. Come on, let's all toast to Brother Yi together. Without Brother Y, we wouldn't be where we are today. We want to wish our Brother Y a very happy new year, and also, our wishes are for Yam's restaurant to keep improving. Everyone stood up and raised their glasses. I looked at all those sincere and lively faces. My heart felt warm as the alcohol and smoke cleared away. It was already late at night. I asked the driver to take all the colleagues who had been drinking home safely, but I stayed behind. I went to the window and opened it. The New Year's bells were ringing at that moment. Dazzling fireworks in the distance exploded one after another in the night sky, lighting up the entire city as if it were daytime. My gaze swept across the street to the hotel across the street. It looked peaceful and modern under the festive lights. There was no trace of Biao's fandom here anymore. It was as if that person and that past full of disputes had never existed. 3 years ago, I was here worrying about a rent increase of 5,000 yuan per month. The landlord had forced me into a dead end. 3 years later, here I am with 4 thriving restaurants and a booming catering company. What has helped me overcome all this is not hatred or resentment, but perseverance in taste, insistence on awareness, and that love for life that never faded, not even in despair. I look at the bright fireworks through the window. Slowly a smile forms on my lips. My soul is filled with tranquility and happiness.